Welcome back to the LPL, the English broadcast of the LPL Week 6, Day 5. We're coming back for our second game now between OMG and Jingdong Gaming, who absolutely had not only the patch, but also OMG's number heading into Game 1. We're now heading into the second game. We have the picks and bans before you, as we'll take a look at this one. So it's actually Jingdong Gaming. I know you said you don't like Zyrakan. Definitely 0-3 on the day, just today, by the way, but they have decided to draft it in the end.
Well, this does mean that they're going to have to stay aggressive the entire way through. Snowball or die is kind of the mantra for Zyrakan right here. They're like the Bonnie and Clyde currently of the LPL. But what we do want to see is, what does Swain do?
Yeah, so, Swain being drafted in this one.
Just a short intro on this champion. He operates really like a Vladimir, but he's stronger in lane, but less consistent in terms of team fights. In order to get his damage off, he does need the Demon Souls stacks, and he also needs to charge up. He needs to heal enough damage in order to make his ultimate useful, to explode his ultimate. So that's a general pointer on him, but he has been seen in High Korean Challenger, and he does have very, very good lane matchups. If you're seeing it right here, as a counter pick into Gnar, I'm pretty certain that Xiang's going to have a good game on it.
Yeah, also the fact that Swain is very good in the top lane versus the mid lane, since you actually have bushes so you can hide your never move. Because when you're in mid lane, you just see them shoot out the clone, and you're like, well, I guess I'll just kind of move sideways a bit and completely dodge never moves. So you never get your passive combo, you never even get to stack up, and then you don't get to the point where you can just pop ultimates. So makes it very difficult, but as you said, in the top lane, much better matchups.
Ooh, now these two compositions are a lot more about execution. They don't really have strong late games. Neither side has a great late game. I'd say probably Corki is the only good late game scaling champion, but a lot of initiation on both sides. The Tahm Kench can carry anyone around. You have the package as well. And then on the other side, of course, it's the Galio and Jarvan, the cannonball combo. So it is going to be a very explosive mid game, especially if we see like an Inferno or a Mountain Drake.
Exactly. Good to see that OMG have definitely adapted to this one, and they should be able to at least get onto the map early instead of completely falling behind in the early game. Let's see if that is the case as we send over to the casters to get us into Game 2.
I'm going to go and I can't talk anymore, Raz. I'm so upset. We're going to get straight into game number 2 because that game has already started. We'll bring the action to as soon as we can. But Swain's been picked up here, Raz.
Yep.
The Big Bird, the Emperor Palpatine.
The Emperor Palpatine. That's a good one. It looks like it, I suppose.
I mean, he's got lightning. He's got basically force lightning as well.
Unlimited power.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. Jingdong still have that one fan.
Just travels along with him. Going to OMG's paradise in Chengdu.
They're still going. All right, there we go. The crowd, though, still rallying behind OMG in their home arena. JDG still had a couple of people traveling down to Chengdu, or fans that live in Chengdu, looking to support them in their match against OMG. OMG, since opening up their home stadium, yet to pick up decisive win here in the LPL.
And if they're going to win it, the Observer also is in on the game plan, following Swain quite through. It seems like this game, it has to be on through the Swain. So let's talk about it just a little bit.
Look, he's got 11 solo kills. Xiang, he's picked up 11 solo kills in this match. Going over towards red buff there.
Yeah, just hiding the fact that where World 6 is starting, because all of the lanes will be starting out. Look at where bottom lane is. Charlie and 5 starting within the lane. Xiang now coming in late, tricks Jingdong into thinking that he's going to be starting top side going down bot. So that's going to change up quite a bit here.
He comes in late with a little bit less mana and losing a bit of health as well. So they're really trying to trick out and see if they can force something coming out from Cleared here, or if it just gives World 6 some time to farm up.
Yeah, but it's going to trick Zoom quite a bit, thinking that he started top side going down bot side, and of course would kind of put a lot of questions. Why is that the case if you would want to play through Xiang? That's an easy kill lane, of course, for Olaf and Swain to come down onto Zoom. It's a good strategy because then that says Zoom, oh, okay, I'm going to push up the lane here. And try and push up, try and harass with his airy procs. It's going to put him in a bad spot because now I'm looking towards a 2-man dive top lane.
Cleared's actually been able to clear out the bottom side of his map, move over towards blue buff, gets that for himself. All 6 to be able to clear out the top side of his map. He's now trying to take down Raptor Camp. We take a look at this mid lane. Yako going up against Icon. Icon's been able to shove him in quite effectively. Yako in this league at the moment, he's just been so strong in the mid lane and incredibly powerful for JDG.
Yep, incredibly powerful, incredibly, I would say like his style, even though he's called himself more of a carry style, comparing himself to Duenby, is just great in terms of teamwork. I actually would, funny enough, compare him a lot more to OMG, just saying that he can always look towards helping the team.
Third face checks a brush, finds World 6, who was waiting for the skank that was going to go down onto Young in the top lane. Doesn't fall through. Zoom stacked up a nice wave up there. And good movements from OMG to protect their top laner.
Yep. But ultimately, that just showcases where World 6 is. There was a big question as to where he was going to be on the map. That's surprising for Clid, knowing that he's in the top side of the map taking his Krugs. But now it's going to be a little bit harder for Xiang to walk up in the lane, especially losing up the mana here.
Well, we haven't seen Swain at all in the LPL since his rework. He's picked up Inspiration Tree as his main go-to, getting the free boots as well as the biscuit delivery, then going for Gathering Storm as well as Transcendence to get a little bit extra cooldown reduction at level 10 minutes into the match. But Zoom's been able to do fine in this matchup so far as Na, constantly keeping Young underneath his turret.
Yeah, I would say best time for Swain is when he starts to look towards one of his first mana items, either, of course, Abyssal Mask, but he's going up against an AD topside, so I would say more of a Rod of Ages. Those just so he can actually consistently pressure in the lane. He has a really low cooldown on his Q, so then he can constantly outpush damage on the mid-range carry of Zoom when he's mini-Gnar. And also, he can start to stack up his soul fragments, which means a lot when he hits 6, so he can press ulti, has the sustain, can just walk up towards mini-Gnar.
But Zoom still incredibly aggressive at the moment, making sure Young is stuck underneath his turret. Gets so much damage down against this Swain.
Yeah, and now Xiang does have to base. Ordinarily, if he knows he's going to be in a 1v1, he might stick around thinking that Zoom would have to respect his own jungler. But because he doesn't have the vision as to where Clid is, then that's an easy dive for Clid. Clid's on the bot side of the map. Xiang doesn't know that, so he has to utilize his teleport, which means he doesn't have the ignite for the lane. That's what he had initially.
He will get a faster cooldown on his teleport as well, 20% CDR with the Cosmic Insight being picked up as well.
Oh, this is interesting. He's actually gone towards going Frostfang immediately. So, like, that just means that he wants the tribute gold, 20 gold per stack, essentially. So he's going to be able to get towards his items a little bit quicker.
However, the bottom lane 5's being caught out, takes quite a bit of damage, is not forced to pop his grey health, however, so we heal back up half of that.
Kind of prime for a gank, but yeah, the sword definitely doesn't know that's here. Sad. Bad for, I would say, shame on RD and Mao not to be able to tell them that 5 had that opportunity.
But he's able to use the blast cone to get right behind that ward, so OMG have to be careful. Nothing's going to spot out Clid here. It looked like he backed away and he has a control ward knowing that nothing's in that brush out either. Luimal is looking for the gank as well. Clid steps up, goes straight on top of 5, but they use the crowd control at the same time, forcing only one flash out of the duo.
And I'm just going to give Clid the benefit of the doubt that he knew that the ward was there and was playing a mind game, so he can utilize the blast cone, act as if he went away, but was literally just going on a runaround spree. So that was a successful gank. Was able to get, of course, the flash off of 5. So incredible. I would say that was really well thought out.
Relieve some pressure in the bottom lane for JD. So right now, for them, top side of maps being constantly pushed in by the Na, pushing it against OMG. Bottom lane was pushing underneath their turret, as well as mid lane being pushed in for Yargal. So 2 lanes are moving forward for OMG. Giving them a little bit of relief, a little bit of pressure taken off their shoulders, helps them out quite a bit. Allows Artie to go back to base and pick up a BF sword. He's still slightly behind Chelly when it comes to CS, about 14, 15 CS down.
Yeah, that's why OMG is going to be looking towards playing through Chelly initially. Right now, Xiang having a tough time within the lane at this point in time. And especially with Chelly, sure, he lost his heal, but he's still a good place to play around, especially having his ulti in 1 more level. So if you're World 6 and you have Predator, you've already purchased your boots, that's a good place to start.
Right now he's just doing a little bit of counter jungling on the top side of the map. Has hit level 6 on Olaf. Clid still waiting to pick up 6 himself. Gets spotted up by a ward as he moves towards the blue buff against Olaf. His smite's coming back up off of cooldown. Might be able to take this one away from OMG.
Yeah, seems like it's going to be... I wonder if this is known from World 6 though, because if that is the case, if they know that they're trading blue buff and sides on the map, then that's going to make the game a little bit more volatile. World 6 will have the mana from blue buff, will have a proper side to look to dive onto Zoom. That's an opportunity, and you might see more dive pressure happening on opposite sides, but that's why I'm going to look towards... actually, Olaf's looking like he's going to base.
Yep, he's heading back to base. He used the blast cone to jump over towards that blue buff, so they're not quite sure if that's what's taking it, but you'd have to assume As they were spotting out going towards the blue buff.
Yeah, a lot of safety here. And I don't blame Clid for walking away from the bottom side, because just ganking a Tom Kench in any scenario, sure he doesn't have flash, but that's going to take a lot of time, especially since they know that he still has exhaust.
Icon's head back to base, picked up a Sheen for himself. Started with the Cull, I believe. Looking to try and wait for his first package use of the match. Haven't seen too much of him in the mid lane besides shoving in Yakao constantly. We're going to try and lock down Galio, but Galio doesn't really care.
Yeah, I would say that. Ooh, nice.
Very aggressive there.
Good reaction, I would say, from the Corki. I think it's okay for both matchups, just because Icon wants to be able to get towards his initial item spike. That's very safe for him, especially from the life steal, like his life on hit from Cull. So he's going to be able to get there safely, while Galio wants to look for those early plays.
And that interaction we just saw there in the mid lane kind of sums up this matchup as well. Yes, Corki is known as the soft counter to Galio, can push him in nice and early. Galio doesn't really care.
Yeah.
You still have to respect him. If he's charging right at you with a taunt ready, you need to Valkyrie away, because there could be a jungler waiting for you.
Exactly, and I mean, of course, Icon, major AP dealer, not going to be hurting Yagao. You've already mentioned that, especially since he has Resolve Primary Tree. So both of them are just essentially trying to farm up and looking for proper impact on opposite sides. Right now, Yagao is well beyond level 6, so he can look for an ulti play on the opposite side of the map, while Icon, once he gets his package out, you already mentioned, then that's his kind of move to go.
Well, we're watching the top lane just then. It's 15 CS that Zoom's been able to create for himself with the top lane advantage. However, now Xiang is trying to turn around and dish out some damage of his own. Is fully stacked. He's looking to lock down Zoom as well. Gets the full combo off. Goes into Big Bird and trying to run straight towards him. World 6 is up here as well. Has the ultimate running straight towards him. But Clid has joined them. Cataclysm locks him in the arena. There's a teleport coming from behind by Yakao. Locks both of them down. Zoom is still alive as well. Icon's forced to use the package to pick up that kill. What the heck? Xiang? He's escaped.
Yep, he had the flash. He knew that he had a friend.
And they're not even able to pick up a kill for themselves. Just taking down World 6, training top laner for jungler.
That was great from Icon to finally get out of his own lane to make the play happen. Ultimately, I would still say that Jingdong protecting the top side of the map, the immediate TP from Yagao to create that play or at least defend the top side works out well for them, because Xiang had all of the soul fragment stacks to walk up to Zoom. It's just unfortunate that this Q didn't hit. Honestly, that was a little bit too much. He was in between the turret and the wall, so it's a little bit easier for him to hit the Q, but it didn't happen. And so immediately, Icon comes in to save. Xiang gets the proper flash through a fat wall with his friend, able to get out of the entire scenario.
Escapes the cage, and he's a free bird to live to fight another day. Has gone back to base, picked up his Ninja Tabbies, already completed his support item, I should say. He'll be getting a couple more wards in the top lane once it comes online and he completes his quest.
Could be especially valuable as the lane starts to break open. Already talked about him already having the wards to be able to place and protect himself. World 6 will not look to be able to do that for him, since he will transition towards the red trinket instead.
OMG do make a rotation down towards the Infernal Dragon. They pick it up nice and easy. Teleport came out from Icon to get down there. Meanwhile, Zoom, being very aggressive at the top side map, has Javan jumping in as well, but they decide not to go for the turret dive.
And not nearly enough damage there. At the end, Xiang does have to walk away because he doesn't have flash. If he did have flash, he would be able to have the opportunity to outplay the scenario. That's not going to be the case here.
Now, bottom lane is the one that needs to be careful. RD is the main target here. Ultimate gets used by Olaf, and all this crown control means nothing, but he takes a lot of damage for it as well. Corki is coming down as well, but they're just trading sides of the map. Galio jumping in towards the top lane, locking down Xiang. They pick up a kill there. And the bottom lane, for JDG, has been able to escape. Yeah,
you know what? I gave Xiang props for leaving the tower, saying that you can, it's not going to be possible for you to protect it. Save your own life, because OMG is making plays on the opposite side of the map, but he still comes anyways because he kind of forgot about the Galio factor. Sure, maybe you can try and outplay the 2v1, especially since you have your ulti to sustain, but there's a Galio on the map. You can press tab, you know that. So I would say a bit short-sighted.
They just trade sides. OMG able to pick up the first turret. However, JDG get a return turret and a kill for themselves. Gold is still fairly even between the two teams. 500 is what separates them.
And even though I criticized Xiang specifically, personally, I think OMG as a whole benefited from it, just because that means they're going to be able to move their bottom lane a little bit more faster. The big question is where they're going to be going with them, just because you could see already Tom Kench did separate from Varus. Varus recognized that he had to hold the wave in the bottom side of the map, but that gives, I would say, OMG as a whole to create more warding opportunities. Maybe that means that they're going to try and contest the blue buff.
Doesn't look like it. Seems like JDG will be able to pick it up nice and easy. Once I take a look towards the items here, you can see that Lumao picked up a minion dematerializer here, has yet to use it for JDG, whereas for the side of OMG, 5 sitting on 3. Now he just has 1 left, so he's been using it proactively in that lane.
Yeah, there's been a few strategies that's been noted of keeping your minion dematerializer for baroned up banner minions. So that could be the case here, not utilizing it, recognizing that you might want to hold on to a few of them just for that instance, knowing that there are AP mages on the opposite side of the map that they can just itemize towards baron banner minions, that you just say, okay, we'll take a step back.
Could be useful to help out Yakao if he ends up split pushing. Zoom does physical damage, so he should be fine. But OMG looking to try and siege up this mid lane. Not successful. Yakao takes absolutely no damage from the poke that comes out. Clears the minions nice and easy.
It's the life of Galio. Resolved, and he just presses W. How do you take him down?
You don't.
You cry some tears.
We've seen it try, but Yakao is just a rock in that mid lane. The Untitled is not going anywhere. JDG now looking to try and see if they can pick a Riptail for himself. And this is being pinged out by OMG, and they have the vision to spot it out.
Yeah, this is the vision placed by 5 a little bit earlier on, so good on OMG, recognizing that they're going to get pushed in a little bit, and just denying the plays from Jingdong.
Riptail's not happy. Chasing them down. OMG, they were the ones that upset him.
It's absolutely hilarious how long of a leash Rift Herald has, by the way. You're like, alright, this Rift Herald, I can't take it. I'm going to try and base near my blue buff. Oh wait, it's chased me down to my own blue buff.
Imagine what you're thinking about OMG. It's like, alright, we did it. We stopped JDG. Let's clear out a couple wards. Wait, why is he hitting me? Ah! Make it stop. But OMG have used that to rotate the AD carry support to the top lane. So both Varus as well as Tom Kench are up here looking to chip away at this turret. So
Yeah,
Zoom is holding onto it nice and easy.
This is very scary if you're OMG, just because we know how impactful Jingdong can be in long lanes with the Galio, with the Recon, especially with Spellbook, because he can just swap up into teleport. So TP plays are incredibly important. If we're talking about vision control, then you have to have solid control wards behind you, because that's very easy to pick up Chelly if he's trying to siege up in towards top lane. And if you don't have the ward, then you do have to group up. It's going to be on World 6 to prioritize the top side of the map so they do not get caught out.
Well, Ika's been able to pick up another package for himself. Trinity Force as well, Sorcerer's Boots are done for Corki. And OMG used that to try and take Riftel for themselves.
Okay, it'll be pretty easy for them.
A much better start to game 2 for OMG in comparison to what game 1 was.
Yeah, I would say it's obviously a lot more slow-paced. I was about to say slow-paced, and I realized with how 4-minute, we don't get a lot of those 4-minute games where you're on the top side and bot side of the map at the same time. So you get more of an opportunity to see what OMG can do when they have more of a control of the game state. So this is much better. I like the fact that the wards are being a lot more dictated by 5 in World 6.
World 6 is going to use the Rift Herald proactively in the mid lane. 5 who brings Chelly into the mid lane, so OMG looking to try and break another turret. JDG are grouping up, looking to see if they can put up any form of a defense, but they might lose this. OMG go for the initiation, looking to lock down Chelly. Tom Kench jumps in to save the Varus, but for how long? Because Clint's looking to lock them down and disrupt them as well. Yakal's bouncing around the catfish. They get that first kill. Pays for it with his life, however. Siyoung is able to go into his ultimate, look to chase them down even further. 1-for-1 trade, but OMG get the mid lane outer turret.
Yeah, talk about a zoning tool. Siyoung just coming in at the end, stopping everybody from coming in. But really amazing play from 5 at the very last second to be able to save Chelly when the taunt comes through from Galio. He loses his life, but it's long enough for him to kind of be that meat shield for his own team to really solidify the kill onto Yagao. So not only do they get the kill onto Yagao, they get the kill on the turret, and now they can push up and look for proper base now.
JDG will be able to pick up a constellation device himself, which is the air, or cloud dragon I should say, second elemental of the game.
It's good to take these off the field. You have the control, and if you can roll the dice and see if there's a better dragon in the near future, that's proper. And if it ever comes down to an Elder Dragon game, then you have the added bonus burn, of course, damage from that Elder Dragon.
Added bonus burn for your team. On top of that, you deny one stack from the opposition if they are ahead.
That's true.
That's always going to take down these objectives, but it's still about 1,000 gold. That's in OMG's favor. Not a large gold lead, so JDG should be fairly happy with the position they're in right now, but good map rotations coming up from OMG.
Yeah, and at this point in the game, I would say you're right, it's not completely over for Jingdong, especially since they do have some great team fighting tools with the Galio Rakan and the Xayah. So that is a combination that you can look towards and say, if you can execute it well, I do not see Icon or Chelly coming out alive. Especially if you look towards OMG and say, well, they have a great mage matchup with the Swain into Gnar, but Gnar is a better team fighter than Swain. If they're starting on an even setting, you have to question how the Swain is going to be playing out in team fights.
So far, we haven't seen too much from Sion Swain. We've seen that he's able to get the combo down at the top lane against Zoom. But besides that, just being able to pick up 2 assists for himself hasn't been a major presence in these team fights. All eyes are currently looking towards both Chelly and Icon on the Varus as well as Corki. It's a very magic damage-based team here coming out from OMG. Chelly, we want to be able to dish out a bit of physical damage, and a little bit will come out from Icon, but most of it's going to be coming from World 6.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be a little bit easier for Jingdong to scale, not only from the team fighting, but from the itemizing, going towards a lot more magic resist is going to make it easier for them to deal with the burst coming out of OMG. Sure, you still have, let's say if we get to that mythical 5 or 6 item Corki situation, then anything goes. It just depends on how the team or the team fight's being set. But you do have to worry about how your initial burst damage is being built. And if I look towards Klid's item of is it going to go into Locket or is it going to be going into Banner of Command? Seems like it's going to be going into Locket with how he's built up the Nullifying.
Well, let's see, because Banner of Command would be very effective against OMG's team composition.
That's true.
Sion is the main split pusher, and he's mostly an AP damage deal.
That being said, OMG has the opportunity to put Icon in the side lane as well. So that would be their prime option, saying that they do have a 1-3-1 opportunity. So if a Banner Command goes onto the top side of the map, then you just send Corki. He's already at the top side matching Yagao. So it's going to be interesting to see how the lane assignments go.
But everyone is focusing on the mid lane at the moment. OMG have already been able to take down that Alistar. JDG, not quite. Baron spawned as well. The enemy of Jingdong Gaming. Oh, friend of OMG. Not so much the last match, though.
Maybe in this one. Holding out for them.
Oh, like we said, OMG have had a decent early game. They've been ahead this entire match as well. Getting to a point where they be comfortable going into team fights against JDG.
It's been a nice touch for OMG to be, I would say, ahead early in the game. Hasn't happened for some time. I would say this is probably the first real test for OMG and what they can do with this lead. Hasn't happened so frequently. So I would love to see if the same problems that occurred to them last split of being too impatient when they do have those early game leads come through once again, with Icon finally getting himself the items that he's wanted 1-0 and 1 in this game.
Good test for JDG as well. What do they do when they are even in goal heading into the mid game? Because that's where most of their fumbles have been throughout the 20 to 30 minute mark of the match, when they are ahead of their opposition. Now they're even. They actually go for a fight. Big initiation coming out from Louis Mal. 5 is able to secure Chelly and save him for now, but everyone's piling on in. They already get the first kill. They take down the second. World 6 is charging with a fight.
God.
That's a big snare going into all members of JDG. They are now hastily trying to retreat, but Zoom's going into Mega. He can try and jump forward. Let's see if he decides to go for the reinitiation. The rest of OMG back off towards the safety of their turret.
You know what? Great start for Jingdong, and that's been their usual strategy if they're behind. Just force a fight. 5 members.
They're going in. Big knot to the wall. Locks down 2, and everyone piles on in. Only Icon left alive. Trying to pick up a return kill somewhere, but it's not going to happen. JDG break through the mid lane and pick up 4 kills.
It's OMG just testing their limits to see what they can do to defend as 3. Not too much when Jingdong are 5-man strong, and Yagao has been more than willing to look to see what he can do with the lead that he's had. So you know what? He jumps in, and now he's 4-1-3.
Last time around, they couldn't do that same play underneath their own turret. 5 was able to keep Chelly alive long enough. This time's not the case. Time just gets taken down so quickly. And although Chelly got a good ultimate off, that's all that he got off in that fight.
Yeah, at least last time around, when the same scenario came through, 5 had enough HP relative to the enemy team damage to kind of save out and stall for his team to come through. Take a look at how long it takes for the entirety of OMG to come, by this time, of course, they're both already dead, and finally OMG come through. But here's the problem. It's a 5v3. So even though that was the most godly setup Swain can ever hope to look for, there's not going to be any follow-up damage because who's going to jump into 5 people?
And Swain's such a flash-reliant champion as well. He needs to be able to jump in to pick up those plays. However, they're going to look for a play onto Yaka on the top lane. Ultimate misses coming out from Chelly. Yaka's trying to keep them locked down. Teleport in the top lane from Zoom. He's in Meganar right now on top of Chelly. Shoves him away from Yaka. 5 will lead it up to try and keep him safe. But they're underneath Jingdong Gaming's turrets. Icon looking for the kill. Not going to happen. Luimao looking for the reinitiation, chasing down the rest of those members. World 6 trying to back in the bush. Can he get home? He can't go home. It gets stopped by the Cinderhulk. He will pick up a return kill. Chelly gets 1, but OMG lose 2. Zaya with the double. Even more teleports into the top lane as well. JDG turn around the pick.
And honestly, I bet World 6 would have based if he hadn't canceled it. I don't know if the Jarvan W canceled that from him, but ultimately everyone ends up dying because the EMS response time from the rest of Jingdong comes through quick enough to save Yagao.
OMG just don't have anyone to stop this Baron that's being picked up as well. Zoom is going one-on-one against Seong. Doesn't look too good for Nah, but he's just keeping him busy while the rest of the team does this.
And just stopping them from basing. That's going to be pretty impactful. Here comes the teleport.
Oh, no, not like this. Jungler's not there for Jingdong Gaming. Baron is low, about 1,000 health. Here comes Icon. Can he steal it? Can he do it? Oh, no! Not like this! No way! It's happening again, Raz! I can't take it anymore! OMG, they've stolen Baron away from Jingdong!
And they just swiped 3 people from Jingdong off the map. How does that even happen? You can hear the crowd. They're there. It's the loudest I've heard OMG Stadium coming up because this is the first time OMG has shown a sign of life in Chengdu.
Icon steals the Baron away from Jingdong. They tried to start it. It looked like Zoom was doing good work of keeping OMG occupied. They had no smite. They decided to wait when the Baron was at 1,300 health, which without smite is the wrong call.
Just take a
And
look
it gets stolen.
Look at how many members are on the Baron from Jingdong. They're trying to pool too many members to stop OMG from basing. So by doing just that, that's going to be a slow take from Baron. They're taking a lot of damage, and the moment Icon peeks his head around the wall, he's like, wait a second, what do we have here?
Proskurian said it best, when Mako stole Baron away from Jingdong, they have turned into the new Dignitas.
I don't want to hear this on this desk.
And what they should do is never go towards Baron ever again. Just let it sit there unless you get a clean ace. Even then, don't. Somehow Grob's going to steal it for the other team.
And maybe you don't want to take my advice being the ex-Dignitas coach, but, you know, here's my take on that. It's never say never. If that Baron take goes poorly, there's usually a better way to take it. But if you just say never again, never go to Baron, then you don't learn from your mistakes. That mistake there was how many members they had to protect Baron. They didn't have the HP to do it because they didn't have Gnar to sit on the Baron for them. And so when Corki comes through, they didn't have any ability to jump on him.
Raz, this is 4 series in a row.
That's true.
4 series, not games, 4 series where Jingdong have not been able to properly secure Baron against the other team. We even said in game 1, it went down to 8 hit points, and Sejuani threw out a wild ultimate without any vision. That almost stalled as well.
Practice tool, baby.
Ooh.
Get into the tool feature and kind of just run it. Run it a few times. That's all I got for you.
They're going to have to try and do something because that was more attempt coming up from JDG, holding on to the Baron, allowing Icon that time to teleport in. Not everyone bursting it down together either. And with that, OMG being able to pick up a couple of turrets to themselves. They secured the Baron buff, and now they're 2,000 gold ahead of JDG.
Yeah, honestly, incredible play coming out of OMG. They had the early game advantage, and of course, that one key steal puts them into the game. So kudos to Icon, who's been playing phenomenally so far. Now he finally is able to bridge himself to that God mode status because he has Infinity Edge and Rapid Fire Cannon, which is good enough to put yourself at side lane and dominate anybody who tries to meet you.
Well, we still haven't seen too much from the other split pusher, which is Seong at the moment, who has picked up nice items for himself. Yes, in that last exchange or skirmish, you can say he picked up 2 kills, but hasn't been a big influence in these fights or skirmishes, besides the one that was a given for OMG. He does have Zhonya's now almost fully stacked up his ROA, as well as the Watcher's Eye completed. So he is fairly strong. But how does he fit into this team composition? Because OMG's only real form of initiation is going to come through Chelly, or World 6 just running at someone like a madman.
Yeah, for him, he's just going to try and stick it to side lanes and hopefully just allow his team an opportunity to dive onto turrets. That's his big key thing. He doesn't want to be in the thick of things in terms of like team fights. If it does happen, then he can utilize his ulti to zone. Zoning is the big key from him just because he's not really tanky. And he's not going to be outputting enough damage until he gets Void Staff, because a lot of magic resistance is on the side of Jingdong Gaming, and he doesn't have any magic penetration to deal with it. So for me, immediately, that's the biggest problem with how he fits into team fights up until that point.
You can see as well, one banner of command has been used coming out from 5. And that is the equal amount of minion dematerializers being used by JDG in this match so far. One has been used by Lumao just to defuse that, so they've got 6 more times where they can stop that being used by OMG. Baron buff, however, has expired, so JDG will probably just work with defusing those bannered up minions until the next Baron has been taken by OMG, if they can secure the next one.
Yeah, so I like the idea. I think people have discussed this about having the ability to just completely smite out the bannered minion with just having your dematerializer. The only issue with that as a support is that you do have to go through quite a few recipes for your items, and so blocking out those recipes, you do have to have a problem when saying, well, do I want a recipe? Do I want some HP underneath myself? Do I want to sacrifice wards? Lumao has just said, okay, I don't want to ever sacrifice control wards just because I have one less slot. So he just doesn't have enough recipe. He's probably sitting on quite a bit of gold for himself right now.
Yep, and when he completes that next item, it's going to be even more difficult for him, because that's when Lumao is going to have to either sacrifice his control wards or get rid of the minion dematerializer.
That's true.
He's gone for a very early Zeke's Herald here. So that will be able to help out with RD, who's gone for a full crit build.
It's interesting. I mostly believe he's doing that because Klid is the one who's gone towards the Lockhart of the Iron Solari. So they've already have that one defensive state, and they're not going to be anywhere near a Baron for quite some time. So they don't want a bannered minion for themselves, so they've actually gone towards the more aggressive route of saying, well, I'm just going to look towards empowering RD, get him a little bit more bonus magic damage burn. That's nice to see if they ever find themselves a proper team fight with how far behind they are.
Well, besides being able to pick up the Baron and secure themselves a 3,000 gold lead, OMG have not been too fractured just yet. Infernal Dragon comes up in 50 seconds. About the same time, the second Baron of the game will be online. Icon's picked up some nice items for themselves, has a QSS as well as a Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, and Rapid Fire Cannon. Looking to the bottom lane, Chelly's completed the 3 item spike here, so to speak, but a different item spike here. Blade of the Ruined King as well as Rapid Fire Cannon be picked up, so going more towards the attack damage build. Kind of makes sense with all the magic damage that comes out from OMG.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, for me, I would say the most interesting part about that is that Chelly's gone towards the Rapid Fire Cannon, just because perhaps when they're looking to siege, getting that extra auto attack behind their Baron bannered minion is pretty crucial. Range is going to be a key factor just because of how mid-range Jingdong are currently, and if you can find that one nice auto attack that can be the difference, or at least how close you are to Galioton, then that's going to dictate the fight. It's only going to be one auto attack, so it's not too impactful, but it may be that one key difference.
It does seem to be why he's gone towards this as well, because if you think about Wit's End going with Blade of the Ruined King, Winston's Rage Blade, when Rage Blade stacked up, Wit's End will steal magic positions, which helps out in this team competition. But they've caught out Zaya. RD forced to use the ultimate nice and early. Galio using the ultimate on top of him just to keep him alive. So JDG, they may have to back out of this one. OMG still looking for the fight. Swain is stacking everything up. Pops his ultimate. Can't quite get into initiation range. They lock down Lumao right as he looks to turn around and charm everyone up. So both teams just diffusing that team fight.
Well, it's unfortunate. OMG is going for the Baron only because Yagao is at half HP, but RD's already completely healed himself, so they're ready for a fight here.
They've got to be careful because Icon has the package as well. This could be a disaster of a fight, but Baron is now down to 2,500 hit points. Can he go in and steal a clear jump? And he does it! That's redemption for Jingdong Gaming! This time the shoe is on the other foot as they steal it away from the opposition. Icon's in some trouble, tries to use the package. Lumao goes in for the initiation, can't find it. Meanwhile, Clint is going to fall on the back lines here, or does he? Because Big Shield will come out. Big Bird's forced to flash. OMG escape, but they lose Baron and their support.
Yeah, OMG scattered off of that. Jingdong had so many options, so many kills, so many people under, I would say, 30% HP. They couldn't nail anybody, though they're now running World 6 down. But another Baron steal? Are you kidding me?
That's the game plan now, Raz. You know what? We can't secure Baron when we set it up, so we're just going to do what everyone's done to us. We're going to steal it away from them.
That's the most disheartening thing for a coach in the back, being like, great, we've had ourselves a lead, everything is working for us. All it comes down to is the vision control around Baron and choosing the fight over burning.
Hey,
they don't choose the fight.
Hey, Raz, welcome to every single Jingdong game that's been played over the past 3 weeks. This has been them every single time, but this time Cleared, he's just a different beast.
Oh my god. World 6 has to be just hitting himself because he was looking towards smiting it after using his E. Just having that combo. And it didn't go through. Just a little bit of HP was the difference.
And everything just goes right for JDG. OMG get dismantled in that team fight. Back in Jingdong's favor, OMG still have a very similar, still have a very equal gold to JDG at the moment.
Look, and I also understand why they didn't choose to turn, even though Xiang was in proper position to do so. It's just a very awkward team fight for them to even try. Xiang walks in, he isn't that tanky. Seeing already how much damage he takes from the entirety of Jingdong Gaming, and they have, of course, the Morella Namicons on Yagao, so he's not going to be regenning much HP for himself. So he's in a really sticky situation. It's like, how am I actually going to enter the team fight? And we have a tanking World 6, how is he going to jump in towards the backline? So RD is so strong, they decided they didn't want any piece of that team fight.
JD now looking to see if they can work through the mid lane, use their Baron buff a little bit further, equalize the gold lead against OMG. See if they continue to break down these turrets. Luckily for OMG, they're currently even, so even if they break the next 2 inner turrets, JDG should just have about 2,000 to 3,000 gold of a lead, which is not too much, 34 minutes into the match. Next Baron that's going to spawn is going to be exact same time as an Elder Dragon.
Yeah, while that's true, I'm still looking towards what playmaking potential does OMG have to stop the tempo that Jingdong are currently forcing them. It would have to be Chelly's ulti. But if you have Chelly's ulti, someone has to look to engage, look to jump in. They don't have those members. They have the protective force of the Tahm Kench for 5, and they have Xiang, who initially just wants to be on side lane rather than committing to these team fights or maybe looking for flanks. So maybe if they have a flank board, they can go for that. But ultimately, they don't, and so it makes looking for these fights incredibly awkward.
But you can see JDG understanding their limits as well. They know they can only push this Baron buff as far as the inner turret. So they take down top lane, even though they have a massive minion wave, which looks like they can push through with. OMG clear it out quite quickly. Now they've got one on the bottom lane. They're going to continue pushing through with that. They don't have their own banner of command, so it's difficult for them to use the siege minion to push through these turrets. So OMG just have to hold on and look to reset the map and fight from a slight deficit instead of a major deficit.
That's true, that's true. And there's not really an item slot that you could look towards in anyone inside of Jingdong to get themselves that banner. Now, of course, once again, match of the week tomorrow, RNG versus EDG. Don't you miss it. I know I won't. I'll be on the desk for that one.
But they're actually going for a fight here. JDG say, you know what, screw that. We're going to push for the fight, and Artie gets the immediate kill on top of Chelly. It's a disaster for OMG. Jingdong haven't enough. They don't want any more Baron steals in this match. They don't want anyone to take that purple worm away from them. They force a fight under the bottom lane inhibitor turret.
And the redemption coming through, which honestly signals the end. Jingdong taking one inhibitor, want to take the next inhibitor, and the minion waves are already coming through.
World 6 gets collapsed upon. JDG get another kill for themselves. Icon has been separated from the Nexus. JDG looking towards these Nexus turrets. 20 seconds on Chelly and 5, it's just way too long of respawn timers. Icon gets forced back towards the fountain. Second Nexus turret is going to fall. They've done it. They get their first Baron stolen, but they say, you know what, we'll take it back from you. And they pick up the win, 2-0 over OMG.
And you know Jingdong Gaming, sometimes the games get messy. But recently they found themselves in that experience, and they can clean themselves off afterwards.
Sometimes?
Sometimes.
Sometimes it's messy for JDG?
Sometimes.
Look, Raz, every time it's messy for JDG, okay? Every single game is the same thing over and over again. They set it up, they make the other game nice, and they go to Baron, and guess who takes Baron? Not JDG. Unless Clear decides, you know what, he's going to be an absolute beast today, flashes in, steals it right away from OMG.
And you know what? Good on Click. We haven't seen him in quite some time because it's been Xiaohan that's been manning the helm in the jungle position. So finally he comes back onto the roster. He's had himself a good set.
Good on Jingdong Gaming in general, because I was talking about this with Clement. When Mako stole Baron away from him, a lot of teams would be like, wow, not again. How can this happen every single time? a wild Brom Q stolen back.
Yeah.
But every single time it seems like, you know what, that's unlucky, let's reset, how do we win from here? They go back to playing the exact same playstyle that they know is the way to win with their team composition. Same thing here against OMG. OMG steal the Baron, you know what, they say, it's fine, we can hold this out, wait for the next fight.
Yeah, and that's a skill in and of its own within a game, kind of recovering from those mistakes and going to the next play, because the game is still moving. If you're thinking about the past, well, guess what? The enemy team is always looking towards the future. They're always setting up for the next play, and so you can't find yourself mentally lagging behind.
Still a roller coaster ride for OMG though. They held out a little bit better in this match against JDG. They got the steal which brought them back into the game. They picked up a unique pick of Swain, but again, we didn't see too much from Xiang. Yes, he has the most solo kills out of a top laner, but the Swain pick was just, he was there, he didn't do too much.
And this is when I just have to say to OMG, stop it with the creative picks. Stop it. Stop it with the Aatrox. Stop it with the Swain. Stop it with the Xin. I don't want to see it. We saw the ease of execution of the constant Galio compositions. Why can't they do that? They set themselves up in these proper team fights. Just execute it with this Galio flashing it with W.
Well, you've heard it right here. Raz doesn't want to see it anymore, OMG. So let's see if our analyst desk wants to see it.
I'll tell you what I don't want to see, and that's another Baron steal in the LPL. You know how many we've had so far in the split, Clement?
Yeah, I did the numbers. We have 23 Baron steals.
23 Baron steals so far in 2018 Spring Split. 23! That number is too high. We had 2 in this game as well. It was just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so there's a lot that happened this game, but let's be honest to ourselves. Those 2 Baron steals pretty much sealed the deal.
Yeah.
And just a pointer if you guys want to like watching LPL games. If you like watching Barons being stolen, then you should watch Jingdong Gaming because they've always had their Barons stolen. Mako, Shia, SOFM, and now against OMG as well. But if you want to watch Baron steals, though, you can tune into Snake. They have the lead in the league so far with 4 Baron steals from SOFM.
Well, hey, there you go. If you want to actually just be on the edge of your seat and have already a very high heart rate in general, your blood pressure is already through the roof, then go ahead and watch that as we get to see another Baron steal come in here today.
Beautiful comboing of the damage from Icon, but where is the smite from Clint? That's the main reason I thought he took the position over Xiaohan, because he could smite something, but I guess I was wrong.
But wait, there's more.
No! So it goes up to 25 today now, just with those 2 Baron steals right there. The 23 number was from yesterday, and it's just heartbreaking. I want to see the coach's heart rate show up on like the bottom side of the screen.
Yeah, it definitely would have skyrocketed after that, for sure, because OMG managed to wrestle back control of the game. We're like, wow, is this really going to happen? Then OMG go for the Baron, and then JD managed to pick up the Baron, and then end the game, what, 2-3 minutes after?
Yeah, so a lot of it does ride on these Baron steals, but we just, you know, dial a little bit back and go back to the compositions between Jingdong and OMG. And once again, I feel like OMG, they picked a composition that really doesn't have a theme to it. Like, what are they exactly trying to do? They have scaling compositions. They have teamfight compositions that want to go in, like Swain, like the Varus. And for Jingdong, I feel like their composition is just much easier to execute once more. Like, they have more of a cohesive thing. They're trying to pick off members on the map. They have the Frozen Mallet from the Gnar, and then they can funnel everyone in on a single target. And that's what they did in the early game to get them those big leads. But for OMG, it's just, I have to question a lot of these coaching decisions and what they're trying to actually build with their team, because it just looks like sit back and rely on solo kills from Xiang. That's not always going to happen.
Sure, I mean, like, OMG are definitely the team who have the most solo kills of any team in the league, so if you are playing towards that, then sure, by all means, go for those type of picks. But as, you know, the caster desk was saying, they go for a lot of unique picks. You know, we've seen the Swain out for them, we've seen Fire Lolly with the Zindao. Like, it doesn't always work. It is definitely a curveball, for sure, but as we've seen, like, the LPL is pretty good at adapting to curveballs on the fly. It seems like the players are very good at just like adapting as soon as they get into game. Once they get 5 minutes into laning phase, they can actually figure out what the pick does and then move around it.
And sure, I think Swain has just been popping up in solo queue a lot as well. That's probably why we saw Zoom have so much experience into that matchup. And we saw the big weaknesses and strengths of Swain as well. I think his weaknesses is he has a very hard time getting into the enemy formations unless you're playing something with longer range. And what we saw there was a 3-eye Raven. He was just quivering around the battlefield, and you have to remember he does need to charge up his regeneration to actually get his damage. It's not like a Vladimir where you can just pop the E inside of an enemy team comp. So There's, I wouldn't say Swain is necessarily a bad pick. I actually think he's a very strong and underrated pick, but you do need the comp set up for it, and that's just beyond OMG's reach right now.
Sure. It's also going to take a little bit of time for teams to really move around the Swain pick and learn how to utilize him. We've only seen 3 games in the major regions. We've seen a couple from Korea and then 1 today in the LPL, so it's still going to take a little bit, but I feel like Swain, further down the line when those teams are able to execute on it, maybe it works out because he does have a strong laning phase. Now, we're going to take a look at the final fight that ended the game here after that second Baron steal we had into the bottom lane.
Yeah, and so far, like, Jingdong are in a massive lead right now. Look at the teamfight positioning from RD. He's in a great position to isolate Swain on the right side, able to basically take him out of the fight single-handedly. And then you have Yagao on the left side, basically soaking up all the damage and attention. And if you look at OMG's composition, they don't really have a I don't know what Olaf is gonna do, and when there's already someone on top of Varus, then their teamfight just kind of crumbles in the end.
And now we've seen a lot of problems from OMG for a long time now. This is their 5th series loss in a row. They've been on a massive slide recently, Clement. So where would you attack first if you're looking towards trying to fix OMG's problems? What would you go for first in terms of foundation?
They need to figure out how to play as a team composition. That's been the thing that's most lacking for OMG. They're one of the teams that don't pick for compositions. They're kind of like an LGD in a sense. They pick for strong lanes, and they try to go for like hero plays in one of the lanes, and that's what carries them over other teams. They've done it before. Xiang has had some great showings. Icon has had some great showings.
Yeah.
But that is a very risky way to play the game. It's not a cerebral way to play the game. It's the way you play if you know you have faster hands. And that's a very day-to-day thing. It's a very execution-based strategy.
Yeah.
And the main thing is I think their front and back lines are completely on different planets. They don't do the same things. Chelly is an AD carry where if you give him adequate protection, then he can actually dish out a lot of damage. But the rest of the team just wants to go in. Five wants to go in. Icon wants to go in. Xiang wants to go in. And the Olaf is not staying back either. So there's a disconnect in what they want to do as a 5-man group, and that's what's been holding them back.
And to be honest, FPX, they actually look like the team that OMG should be right now, you know? It's just like FPX are aggressive in the early game, but they've managed to temper that, and it's just like, wow, they've actually managed to play a cerebral game, as you've been saying. So it's almost just like OMG, learn from FPX right now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it does have to go back to the coaching. You know, maybe the rock stars are just too hard to coach, but if it's gonna go on like that, they're not gonna be singing concerts in sold-out Chengdu much longer.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if they can try and make that upward swing. We're going to take a look at the standings and how they are shaping up, though. After OMG's loss here does mean a win to JD Gaming. You can see they are swiftly encroaching on that 4th place in the Eastern Conference, just behind Suning Gaming, who actually have played already one more game than them. So JD Gaming definitely in contention still for the playoff run.
Yep, Jingdong, basically they had a very rough schedule going in, but it should be easier sailing from them. The big thing we have to look for is who is going to contest the 4th place in each region's playoff spots. Is it going to be BLG, W, FPX? And for the West, is it going to be between SNG and Jingdong?
Yeah, for sure. And also looking towards Team WE, 7-5 now. They have played 2 more games than EDG, who are currently just ahead of them. So good stuff for WE, but they need to maintain their current trajectory as they move into the playoff run, because we are now swiftly approaching the end of week 6, Clement. So there isn't much longer for WE to pick up those wins. Pretty much need to get every single one, because every single game counts.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see how the teams we haven't seen yet adapt to patch 8.4. We've seen some really good answers today from Jingdong Gaming, really utilizing the lack of vision coming out from the Tracker's Knife and punishing the side lanes with it so well. I do want to see this trend continue, and it is a style that I feel suits LPL very well.
And luckily for us, we do get to see more teams tomorrow, as we'll be seeing Snake taking on TOP in our first matchup of the day in Chongqing in the Snake Pit, and then we'll be rounding out with a match in our very own Shanghai Arena with EDG and RNG on Match of the Week.
Heavyweight matchups across the board. We have Martin versus Flandre, and of course, Uzi versus iBoy. The old generation, the crownless king, the old guard versus the new blood in iBoy. 2 of the most respected, most hyped AD carries we have in the LPL going head-to-head. That has got to be quite a explosion of happiness. I'm bored there.
An explosion of happiness. Match of the week, EDG versus RNG. Now, as you said, it is the matchup in the bottom lane for sure. Like we heard at the start of the split from Uzi, if you want to be the best, if you want to be the new king, you've got to go through me. And iBoy, he's going to have to do it, in this game. Because this is the only time we're actually going to see RNG take on EDG in that cross-conference before we go into playoffs.
Yeah, and I definitely hope that iBoy is going to start, because EDG actually started Hope in the previous series. I hope it was just to show what the team could do without all the focus being on iBoy himself. So this is really kind of a new EDG, so to say. They want to be a full spectrum threat. They want to challenge the top lane, the mid lane, and the bot lane at the same time. Well, honestly, I think RNG has been doing more of that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, make sure to tune in tomorrow for that one, because it will be happening at 9 p.m. Central Time in China. So make sure to tune in for that. But for today, we're going to be closing out the shop. So from myself, Clement, everyone on the broadcast team, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you tomorrow.